you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 59. My name is Red. I am joined by Mel.
Minimi, we have to use a secret technique. You will die, but that's a sacrifice I, Hokuto, are willing to make.
Yeah. Also joined by Brad.
And if I catch any of you listeners talking shit, I'm gonna give you the Marucci treatment.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Coming up, I guess, one of these episodes is just Mortal Kombat for some reason.
Yeah. Coming up, violence against women, violence against monsters, the return of two legendary guys for some reason. And one last thing that's coming up. I finally internalize Death the Kid guy's name, and thank God I only had a couple of characters left I could think of who dual-wield pistols. I don't have to be like, oh, it's Revy from Black Lagoon guy anymore. I'm done now. His name's Yamanaka.
I didn't realize for the past... It took me a bit last week that I realized you were just using a different character who duels every single time you brought him.
It was only twice, but I made sure to differentiate Lara Croft guy and Dante.
Because I remember Dante guy, and then I heard Lara Croft guy, and when I was listening back, I was just like, oh, I see what they're doing.
Same guy. But yeah, that's all coming up. Before any of that, Brad, have you been up to anything?
Yeah. So I have one thing to talk about. I am at the time of the month where work deadlines are murdering me, but the other day I had some little bit of free time, and my friends were doing nothing, so I went, I'm going to be a normal person, and let's see what's on the streaming services to watch this afternoon. So I log into my Max account, and I see The Jinx Season 2 has started airing, and I went, what? Why? Do either of you know about the documentary series The Jinx?
No.
Okay, so, this is a very, I would say, noteworthy true crime documentary series from 2015. I'm going to give you the rundown about why this show was important and why...
So Brad, nearly 10 years old?
Yeah, 9 years. That did psychic damage to me right now when I was trying to figure out if you were joking.
That was the aim. That was the aim.
So... now I didn't watch it till, I don't think I watched it till right before COVID hit, back in the day. So I was coming to it a little late, but I had heard the story because this was all over the news. So I'm going to start from the beginning. And I am an avid believer that you cannot spoil real life and history. So fuck you, if you're listening to this and care about these things, but
please don't tell me how Romance of Three Kingdoms ends.
Yeah, so true. So in the 80s, there's a weird rich guy that comes from old New York money. His family owns a bunch of the real estate where office skyscrapers are built in New York. His name is Robert Durst. Becomes estranged from his family a little bit, not on great terms with his other rich asshole family members. He decides to live a little bit of a quieter life. He meets a woman, falls in love. They open like a health food store, I think in Vermont. Marriage goes bad. He has trouble connecting with her and her family because she's more like humble upper middle class origins, and he's like rich, like playboy lifestyle type guy. His wife goes missing. And he goes, I don't know. And everyone else in their lives go, you absolutely killed her. And he's like, I don't know. But, no body ever gets found. And people go, well, can't do anything about that. Years later, becomes friends with a famous mobster from Chicago's daughter. And she defends him every time people bring up the whole disappeared wife thing, and they become close friends and confidants. And then suddenly, it's announced, hey, we're gonna reopen the case revolving around this person's disappearance. Suddenly, that mobster's daughter gets murdered at her home, and the guy goes, I couldn't do anything. I was across the country at the time. That's ridiculous. Cut to a few years after, This guy is living as under the identity of a deaf-mute woman renting out a humble Texas apartment because he wants to lay low and get away from the press of all of this. His his neighbor gets murdered. He is found guilty of dismembering the body, but not for killing him.
Dude.
What is going on here? What the fuck?
It turns out when you are rich enough, you have an argument with your wife at the time, and she goes, well, I want you to hire this lawyer. He's the best lawyer in Texas. And then he goes, well, I want to hire this lawyer because I've been told from other people he's the best lawyer in Texas. And then you just have enough money to pay both of them together $1.8 million to make an amazing legal defense, and you just get away with it. We cut to
normal stuff.
We're getting close. You may remember this is part of a documentary, so we're getting there. A few years later, a filmmaker, Andrew Jarecki, learns about this guy's story and goes, "This is ridiculous. This would make a great movie." So he makes a 2010 movie called All Good Things, starring Ryan Gosling and I think Kristen Dunst. And it's a mediocre, like, whatever movie that's, like, you know, very heavily based on this dude's life. Robert Durst, the man in question, sees this movie in the theater and goes, I think this guy gets me. He calls up the movie studio and is like, hey, I just want to talk. And everyone goes, So he gets in contact with the director and he goes, hey, I've been avoiding questions from journalists and reporters, but I saw the movie you made about me, and I like it a lot. I think you really get me. Why don't we sit down and do, like, a documentary or something? And Andrew Jarecki goes, well, I'm not going to say no. So, we then get to The Jinx, the 6-part HBO documentary series, aired in 2015, that was made over the course of many years over several interviews that this film director has with Robert Durst. The reason this documentary is so important is because in the process of making the documentary, by doing their journalistic due diligence, Andrew Jarecki finds damning evidence that proves this guy, without a shadow of a fucking doubt, absolutely did that shit. He then confronts him in the final episode in their last interview with the evidence he has compiled. And Robert Durst freaks the fuck out and goes, I need a minute, and goes into the bathroom, not realizing his interview microphone is on. Or his interview mic is still on.
Oh.
I think I remember this story now.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
Now.
And he goes,
Yes.
What the hell did I do? I killed them all, of course. So...
I just want to ask, why would you invite a guy to fucking do a documentary about your own crimes that you don't want to get found out?
This is one of the many questions that is why season 2 is actually not a complete waste of time. Because, I should say, he was absolutely arrested after that documentary. In fact, I think he got arrested the day before the final episode aired.
I see.
And, like, the evidence found in the documentary was a key part of getting him arrested. So this seemed like a pretty, like, closed, like, okay, we know the story of what happened here thing. So I was like, what 9 years later, why are you making a season 2? This seems really unnecessary. But I loved your first season, so I guess I'll give it a shot. This season is all about the fallout of the first documentary series. It's also about why the fuck did this guy agree to do this? And also, it turns out when you're a rich asshole that gets away with murder for 30 years, you don't do that alone. There's other people involved, and it's kind of digging into that a little bit too.
Okay.
There's only one episode out. The second episode is coming out tonight. I am so excited to watch it. It's been great so far, but yeah, like this, the question of why would you agree to ever do a documentary like this in the first place. There's interviews with law enforcement people that are like, yeah, we don't, like, this guy just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. There's also recorded jailhouse calls with him calling his asshole rich friends, and they're like, I fucking told you not to do the documentary. There's a really chilling call he makes that's recorded where there's a lady telling him, like, you know, if you wanted all of this to go away, I could have helped you do that, right? And he goes, yeah, I know. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Who is this lady? So yeah, I feel weird about a lot of true crime stuff. This is one of the cases where I genuinely think it is done with enough, like, finesse and journalistic, like, due diligence, that it was a net positive that this fucking thing happened. And it's just an interesting story. The dude is a fucking weird interview. He's just a very bizarre guy. And just, like, there's something fascinating about watching a man that is like, well, I can't admit that I killed my neighbor, but I have to, because of how my legal defense worked, I can't just admit that I did dismember his body and then threw it into the ocean.
Right.
And watching this old guy who's kind of weird and maybe is lacking in some social departments, just, like, give an interview while, like, living with that fact is just, like, such a bizarre look at what humanity can be at its darkest. So, yeah, I highly recommend season 2 of the Jinx. It's a good, fascinating time, and I know I basically told the rundown of what season 1 entailed, but, you know, it's very famous. Like, you know, Red knew the ending.
Yes.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
like when you said you went off to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, that was that thing from 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Still worth watching. Because also too, like, just getting the dude's just a really good interviewer. And you get, like, the guy who provides the evidence, like, oh, he absolutely did it. It's like an envelope that has handwriting that is exactly the same as a note left by the killer. Including they both misspelled Beverly Hills the same way. The dude who had that envelope was one of his biggest defenders. And then when he finds it and alerts the documentarians to its presence, he goes, yeah, I can't deny this. This fucking sucks. But it's very compelling storytelling. So that was my work.
The power of documentary.
Yeah.
Damn. Cool. All right. Mel, what have you been up to?
Okay, so I got 2 things this week because I've been busy.
Shoot.
So I squeezed 2 things. One of these things.
You've been busy. You've got 2 things. I have not been busy.
Yeah.
I'm.
Well, one thing just I happened to do, like, the day I finished my exams, and then one of them I squeezed in this morning because I didn't want to just do the one thing. All right, so anyway, I'll figure out how to talk about this as we go. But anyway, this past week I watched a communist kaiju movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you talked about this a little.
Yeah. So I watched it with some comrades on, like, a Twitch. And the movie we saw was the GPRK film Pulgasari.
On Twitch?
Yeah.
I guess this is extremely something nobody's gonna fucking go, you can't show this.
Well,
I don't know why that surprised me.
Yeah, I like... the Wikipedia page on the American Wikipedia says, this movie is considered public domain by the United States and other countries. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, watched it with some comrades, which I think helps, because I think, because it's the, GPRK, famously or infamously, probably the most, even as far as, like, Red Scare Orientalists myths and stuff go, gets it the worst. I like the term Red used, where, like, pretty much anyone who'd be watching this is doing it through the liberal lens of malicious curiosity.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of frames, like, how people go into watching it.
Historically, I have always heard of this movie talked about in the, like, oh, they tried to make a Godzilla and it sucks ass sort of way.
Yeah, and it's always just like, the mere fascination of like, oh, this country did it, and therefore whatever it's trying to do is all kooky and weird. Like, it's all the Red Scare stuff tends to just be wrapped in some degree of Orientalism, white supremacy, anyway, just account of like all the non-white countries are the ones where the communism happened. And also the Slavic countries, which is, conditionally white. And there's also, just elephant in the room. There's like a story about like the background of this movie, where like allegedly,
yeah, go ahead.
Just like
I was just about to go ahead, but go ahead.
Yeah, just allegedly, like the director was like he's from South Korea originally, and the story in like the West is generally like, oh, he was kidnapped and forced to make the movie, and among other movies. Apparently, he was in the North for a while making a bunch of movies. He had a bunch, but eventually defected back. But the official story is like, oh, he was kidnapped and forced to do it. The degree to which that's true is hard to say when you take into account imperialists make up a lot of shit about communist countries generally. But at the same time,
because also, even in the West, wasn't the original thought that he defected, and like it could be the case that when he came back, the kidnapping story was a cover. Sort of thing.
Like the thing is, like the comments I watched was said like there was a cultural exchange program at the time between North and South, and that was part of it as well. But the thing is, like, if you look up this movie online, the kidnapping story the only one you get, so it's kind of hard to like. You get into the problem with the communists where you need like rock solid evidence to challenge the deluge of things that the imperialists say, and like sometimes there is like merit to like things like, oh, this country did a bad thing, and sometimes it's like the West just made this shit up or exaggerated out of context, and it's like I don't want to like necessarily be responsible and say, well, this other thing definitely happened, but I also just want to like give healthy skepticism to like the existing narrative.
Yeah, especially in like a post like Yeonmi Park era, like it's become
like it's like every week someone turns up dead, so someone turns up who's supposed to be dead.
Yeah. like the thing, that's the thing where like DPRK gets like it so ridiculous than most, where like it's like simultaneously Kim Jong-un's haircut is illegal and mandatory, punishable by death in the West, and it's like you have to like take a grain of salt with this stuff and do like the proper research.
Also, and heavily reported he fed his uncle to dogs. Actually, maybe he didn't. yeah. So it's like
my dad, not really a left wing guy, but kind of started me on my road when one day when I was like 11 or something, when my mum says, God, did you hear about this guy in North Korea who got killed with like an anti-aircraft cannon? And my dad just kind of squinted and was like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like the things that a lot of people just buy into the ridiculous stuff that gets said just because like, there's like the Orientalist lens of like the quote unquote hermit kingdom kind of thing. So, and it's like, they are like more closed off than other socialist countries for various reasons. That doesn't exactly help because there isn't really a counter narrative against that. So it does just people are more willing to buy into the more ridiculous stuff than they necessarily would, even like considering some of the ridiculous stuff people say about other countries. Like when people on Twitter post anime pictures where the blood is painted white and go, oh, look at China's censorship of blood kind of thing. It's like all the socialist countries get it to some degree, but yeah.
This is all a long road to saying that maybe people should view this movie with a more critical and positively curious perspective and eye, rather than the dismissiveness that a lot of people are charged to go into it with.
Yeah, because like
now, this is not the first movie that has been talked about on this podcast that you could accuse positively or negatively of being communist propaganda. Because I talked about Alexander Nevsky.
That's true, but I also feel like for whatever reason, like just because of like how much shit DPRK gets relative to other countries, it feels like it's more acceptable to talk about Soviet movies, even by comparison.
I feel like there was a re-litigation.
I think it's happening. Like
for Soviet,
because
era films.
Yeah, I do follow the channel that's just uploading all of like Mosfilm.
Yeah, like Mosfilm channel. I there's a few Soviet movies I want to watch.
You should send me that. I should check that out.
Yeah, there's a couple Soviet movies I'm planning to watch in the near future, so I'm probably going to the Mosfilm channel a bunch.
Yeah.
I take issue with this being called...
It's like every fucking week there's like new movies.
Oh, damn.
I do take issue with this being called Russian Cinema Masterpieces. It's Soviet Cinema Masterpieces. Thank you very much.
Soviet.
This is a secret about Western liberals and Russian liberals believe the same thing, where the Western liberals are like, the Soviet Union is Russia derogatory, and Russian liberals are like, the Soviet Union is Russia complimentary.
Stalingrad Part 1 and 2.
That's how you know it's a good movie.
Yeah. Is that where we're at? Is that where Ultra Q is at? We see Part 1 and Part 2, and we're like, yeah, it's so true. Go off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, Red Cliff, pretty damn good.
Dune.
Also,
Rebel Moon.
Socialist country.
Rebel Moon. That's good movie by definition.
But yeah, I watched it with some comments. I think it helps because I feel like, one, if I watched it alone, I think there would be things I'd miss because I'm not as theory or film theory or communist theory read as others. So having other people who are more read, who can see more socialist themes, helps. And also, just thinking back of like a month ago, I had a mutual who I think watched it in their server, this movie, but they're not communists. So of course, all of their takes were of the
look at this stupid thing.
Yeah, malicious curiosity. Like, I think it just fundamentally frames your movie a particular way where you're just like, I'm going to watch this kooky thing from this evil place to mock it.
How does that person feel about Top Gun?
I don't know.
This does make me think of the interview with the white guy who's making himself as a big name in Chinese cinema as just exclusively playing like American bad guys.
Oh, so you mean like Lord Black from the Ugandan soft ground wrestling?
Yeah.
Not Lord White.
He's talking about like he's like, oh yeah, it's obviously propaganda, but like I mean, so's Rambo.
Literally, here's the thing. Part of becoming communist is realizing that like the media of our countries is also propaganda, so it's not inherently evil when the every country is like doing propaganda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie.
Yeah. So this movie, going in with a lens as a communist among communists does mean you watch it and go, oh, this is the most communist movie ever made. Because the premise is it's set in feudal Korea, and basically the peasants do a peasant revolt against the aristocracy and the monarchy, because it fucking sucks to be a peasant subservient to the feudal aristocrats. And at some point, one of the present leaders, who elder, he's given food in prison, and instead of eating it, he turns the food, the rice, into like a little doll of a little kaiju guy. And the kaiju comes to life with a pricked needle of like one of the female characters. The blood gets on her, and the kaiju, the little creature Pulgasari, comes to life. And it starts off as a little weenie guy, like the size of your thumb, kind of thing. And it slowly, by eating lots of iron, it grows and grows and grows to big size. And you can see them doing something because they're like, oh, it's eating the swords of the aristocracy and also literal chains off of people who are like about to be executed. It's like, oh, they're doing something. But it's not so simple, because put a pin in the fact that it's also eating like the farming tools the farmers need.
I see.
And then like the kaiju grows, and like the peasant revolt is basically happening, and having Pulgasari on their side does a lot to help trounce the nobles in like the peasant revolt, and it sort of all slowly culminates. Everyone's cheerleading around Pulgasari, like, oh, this is like the symbol of our liberation kind of thing. And there's a few schemes with cool stuff, like they try and like catch Pulgasari in a cage and burn on a fire. But all this does is like turn into from a metal kaiju into a really hot metal kaiju, and so when the nobles try and flee into the river, Pulgasari just goes into the river and boils them. So that's fun.
Damn.
And eventually they just reach the capital and just totally destroy the Emperor's palace, and all the nobles are redacted, and the day is saved. Except Pulgasari is still around and is still hungry, and like the last little stress in the movie is dealing with the fact that like, oh, wait a minute, the liberating thing is now the thing that helped liberate us is now maybe a problem now that we need the metal for our farm tools to survive, and so there's sort of like a resolution where there's like they need to return Pulgasari to the Earth in order for the new liberated society to thrive. And I think maybe this is where some of the liberal takes of like, oh, this is a satire of the regime the South Korean guy was criticizing the government comes from.
Let me tell you what Lenin believes should happen to the vanguard.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely a thing where, like, if you are a liberal and don't know Marxism, then, like, yeah, it's like, you just think, oh, yeah, it's like the too much revolution thing, like, you know, last episode of Rosa Versailles voice, where, like, oh, the revolution actually is harming them in the end. But if we'll go from, like, a socialist angle, it's more like, you know, less Pulgasari as, like, well, I like your example of what Lenin says about the vanguard, but also just, like, Pulgasari less represents the people's will itself, but more like the contradictions necessary to make the revolution happen. And like some examples given in like the chat were like, oh yeah, you know, there's the progressive role of the bourgeoisie in the revolution itself, but they can't be allowed to like take control of the revolution, or they like start eating all of the people's wealth. And alternatively, it's stuff like, you know, I got thinking because like, you know, heard some stuff about Gramsci in the past week. He had a criticism of, like, you know, democratic centralism, where very useful for the Bolsheviks before October Revolution, where they need to build power and win. But once they get established and the party becomes part of the state, then there's a degree to which democratic centralism is inhibiting on the development of socialism through, like, the entrenchment of bureaucracy, which, you know, opinion shared by Mao to, you know, better or for worse in that case.
Common criticism of the Soviet Union.
You know, balancing, like, you know, central organization to like defend the revolution and like make policies happen, but also you don't want disconnection from the masses, basically. But that's getting a tangent. But yeah, basically it's like a more complicated nuance, just because like, oh yeah, if you're, it's like obviously like a very surface level reading of like, oh yeah, there's like the symbolizing revolution and like revolution's happening, but like there's more going on with like thinking about what it means for revolution to happen from a materialist angle, which is why I think it's interesting that's like the kaiju is specifically eating iron that the aristocrats use, but also to a degree that like the peasants use as well. I think it's interesting stuff. My conclusion with the movie is like it's actually like it's a really good movie. I think it's worth watching, especially if you're a communist, and especially I think because of, I think it helps also to watch it with fellow communists, especially ones who maybe like know the theory more, who like read a lot of the stuff. Like it does feel like really well considered from that front. Like it's not like the most complex movie. I would say the special effects look pretty good. Apparently, part of the reason why I was kind of like admittedly wishy-washy about whether to talk about the movie just because it was like, you know, spicy controversy. But like it came up in my trivia, and it turned out in my trivia this week that like some people from like Toho staff helped work on the movie, which is why maybe some of the suit effects look good. Like I think the Pulgasari suits look excellent personally. I definitely feel after watching the movie that it's just like people's treatment of this movie is more from like the Yaomi Park lens they're using it through rather than like actually considering it. And also, you know, they aren't like, because they're not Marxists, they don't actually think about like what it's talked about with like themes of like revolution and dialectical materialism and all that stuff. So you know, I think it's like, I think it's also like I'd say like, you know, I've watched Red Cliff, but I do feel like as far as like movies from socialist countries go, this is like the most like, oh, this is where the socialism actually matters. And that part of that's I think because like modern China is like as a compromise deeply embedded in like capitalist systems, and so Chinese cinema is more like
there's also just a sort of you can't it would be difficult to make necessarily about the Battle of Red Cliff.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
you know,
and
it's like
also
a
John
battle
Woo is like, I
between
guess, like a
feudal
Hong Kong
lords.
guy, and he's bringing like people from the mainland, people from Hong Kong, people from Thailand, not Thailand, fuck, stupid, Taiwan, holy shit, from different like corners of, like, you call it, like the less than unified China, so to say.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not like Red Cliff is also not like Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a communist work by any stretch of the imagination.
It's like culturally important.
Yeah,
to China,
I'm not trying to say like
yeah.
Red Cliff is a synonymous of all Chinese cinema, but I do think like there's probably a degree which like Chinese cinema probably leans closer to like what you'd expect from like other country cinema than necessarily like other socialist cinema. I just mean like modern Chinese cinema in the current era. I imagine like 60s or 50s Chinese cinema would probably be different too. But that's just like, history to agree.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the movie's good and worth watching. I think you should give it your time, and like, especially if you're like a socialist, give it a chance. And if you're like not, go read State and Revolution and then go watch the movie.
Oh, good.
That's my thoughts on Pulgasari.
Okay.
But yes. I said already two things, and that's probably because I was like, well, maybe it'd be awkward to just only cover the North Korean movie in the podcast. So I said, well, we'll have a palate cleanser. We'll have something to bring people back in.
You watched American Godzilla 98, no?
Yeah. I thought I needed, in the interest of the season's theme of duality, I need to bring in Pulgasari's platonic opposite in what I'm calling Douglas Arthur's final victory. However, the thing what I'm talking about is, to most people, what they would call it the first 3 episodes of Blue Archive, the animation.
I see.
So Blue Archive, the mobile game, is a South Korean mobile game. It's got an anime adaptation now. But I think one of the things that stands out for me is that it takes heavily inspiration from Japanese anime and cultural touchstones. Bring to mind the fact that the Singularity administration was staffed with the exact same people as the Japanese colonial administration.
I see.
This is my thesis argument.
I guess the other thing is how much anime is actually made in Korea, but don't tell people that.
This does get to like a little bit of like, I have a bit of a weird soapbox where I'm like, a lot of people are playing Chinese and Korean games now that are also clearly anime inspired, because that's just like, Japanese cultural hegemony in a sense. But that does also mean that like people playing them in the West will often play those games with Japanese voices. I think is a bit, I get it, but also feels a bit weird to me. Like, I'm like, when I play like Honkai Star Rail, I play with the Chinese voices because it's the Chinese video game. But I feel like my assessment of Blue Archive is that it's, I guess, the worst of this, because it's kind of more a Japanese game made by Korean people than an actual Korean game. Especially because I looked it up and like the director's like really like, I want to make an anime game. So, and the game was released in Japan first. But enough of the rambling. The premise seems to be that like there's, I think it's like a post-apocalyptic world, maybe. I haven't played the game, so I'm just going off of the anime. And like, for whatever reason, there's a city, and that's like the one city where everyone lives. And the city's run by a student council as the government, which I guess oversees all the schools, except for whatever reason, the student council president is missing, and now all the schools are like doing some warring states shits where it's like, well, no central authority, so we can vie for control. And also you got your yellow turbans in the shape of the fucking band gangs and stuff. And it does seem to be like a kind of like, the framing device seems to be, we want military gun girls with the Japanese high school anime aesthetics, so we've create a setting where the girls in the guns are organized into schools of some sort, and there's like power buying, tactical stuff going on, and I am curious to see where this goes, because I feel like this is like one of I say 3 kind of mobile games where I kind of group them together on the broadly associated girls with guns genre.
The other one is Arknights. What's the Girls Front? What's it called?
It's Girls Frontline. And when I say 3, I mean 2.5, because as you alluded to, one of those is not as significant as the other 2 in terms of getting fan art.
Rip.
But yeah, I feel like I kind of associate them in my head because I'm like, well, there's something. Feels like there's a movement there, but I can't put my finger on it.
What about Nikkei?
That is a girls with gun game.
Does count, so I can't say no. However, I just kind of leave it over there. Just decided it's funny that in Capital Suveries they've been playing Nikkei, and they're like, you know what, this one's actually engaging mechanically, tits aside. But
I didn't know until recently those are the same fuckers who made Stellar Blade. I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
It is funny that the gameplay of Nikkei is like wild guns and cinema shit. But anyway, Blue Archive. Yeah, it is like it does. So far, it's just like, well, I can sense that this is a mobile game adaptation because it's like trying to do the plot adaptation, but it's also like we got to get all of the characters from the mobile game because everyone has their favorite set of characters and they want their girls to show up in the animation. I feel like that's a problem that kind of runs into where it's like you want to show all the girls, but also you need to actually pace a story properly. And, you know, pacing of a gacha game is obviously different than a TV anime with 12 episodes.
Now, as far as I know, the arcs of Blue Archive do have main characters.
I looked on Wikipedia, and that does seem to be a case. It seems like so far there is a main character of this.
That cat girl.
Yeah, there's like a cat girl, and there's another cat girl. I will say, part of my reasons for going to Blue Archive is, you know what, cute girls with guns are good. Cards on the table. But that aside.
Shiroko, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think she seems like the poster girl. She seems to be the protagonist so far of the anime where it's at now. I'm still trying to piece together what the fuck this world is, because it does seem to like.
They all have halos.
Yeah, they have halos. I don't know what that's for. I think it's like tied to immortality stuff.
It took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that all the art I was seeing on Twitter where the girls when they have halos, it's from the same game.
Yeah,
I was like, everyone's just really into angels or something. What's happening?
Hideaki Anno voice. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where this is going. I know in the games the point of view character is a teacher, which I think maybe makes some aspects of the game eyebrow raising, where it's like interface with the game. Yeah. You interface with the game with like the teacher of these girls who want to be your wife. And that's what people. I don't actually know how much that's actually true in the game. But at the very least, the people who play it probably think that.
As you say this, when you Google Blue Archive in images, you can find a tier list.
A tier list of what?
Go see it.
Nice.
I hope you get the same one. It's just.
I think I found it. That's bad.
It's just all the characters group into like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tier lists. The bottom tier is called unknown. The next one up is 15. The next one up is 16.
Oh no! What do you mean that girl's the 18? What the fuck?
She's the one. That's the one.
I recognize this one at the top with the white and black hair because I remember the one mobile ad for this game was her sitting on like a park bench or something being like, I think she has something to say to you. Do you want to talk to her? And I was just like, no. And then I kept scrolling.
Yeah. Anyway, this is like one of the main things I know about Blue Archive. Is just this aspect. And the sensei memes that I see.
Yeah, and like that's something I feel like I wouldn't necessarily be as interested if it wasn't for the fact that like other people who feel like I know they aren't like into that aspect still like the thing in other aspects. And like I feel like well there's something here, so I'm kind of curious what that is.
I know people who should not be in prison but do like Blue Archive and are retweeting like, and I'm like, oh okay.
So
okay.
That's why I'm like, well, I want to know what the substance there that's like worthwhile is. Just curiosity. And I think
shout out to Cobats.
Yeah. Thank you, Ufi. I think some sense the anime will make this misogynism better because here the sensei's just a guy. Well, he's just gonna be the well-meaning teacher who does the good, responsible teacher role, and like I guess if any of the girls do have like the crush on him, it's more like in a sense of like sometimes the student just likes their teacher, and that's okay. Obviously, unless the teacher reciprocates, which is illegal. But I don't think this is Utena, so no. I don't expect this adaptation to go in a predatory route. So we'll see how that goes. I'm interested in what's up with this world building where it's like 5 girls are like the only people who go to this school, and it's like we are in debt and need to revive our school, which we do by gun operations. I'm like, what? You say these are schools, but do you guys have education, or are these just like military units that are branded as education centers? That's what I want to know. It does feel like the school branding is for aesthetics rather than for actual practical world building, which I think is probably makes sense. But if there's, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. All the characters are Japanese names. That's an observation.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
From this very Korean video game. Thank you, Douglas MacArthur. But anyway, yeah, I feel like I don't have a lot of thoughts so far. Go on.
Yeah, it's alright. It's only 3 episodes, and it's the kind of adaptation where it's just like are you gonna have a solid idea of what Blue Archive is by the end of this adaptation? Flip a coin. Yeah.
Like it's one of the things. Like I've been thinking, like maybe I'll just watch the cutscenes and along with Arknights, just watch that on YouTube.
I do know. I know one thing about Blue Archive that made me go, "Oh, that fucking rocks." But like, it's also like really stupid. And it's just to do with like it's like there's some final boss somewhere where something happens, and I'm like, that's something's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There was like someone who was like posted a video of like a boss fight where it's like sometimes the archives just the coolest shit happens and they just go fight a giant robot in the middle of the ocean, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Blue Archive.
One day I'll uncover the mysteries and we'll see what there is to say more about this. But for now, I guess it's like, that's fine. Some nice vibes. Interesting designs.
Thanks to a particular Bocce the Rock meme. There's a track from Blue Archive that everyone likes called Unwelcome School or Unwelcome Unschool or something like that. And I only know that as the Kita Bocce Kando meme from a song adaptation. So yeah, that's
yeah. Girls with guns are cool.
Like.
Girls with guns cool. I think that's the appeal of Licorice Recoil, too.
True.
I have a fucking Blu-ray of Noir on my shelf. I'm like, I'll watch
that's
this. That's
also Girls with Guns.
Yeah. See, like that's like the Girls with Gun show that I think about when I think about like that genre descriptor.
Yeah.
And like, I should watch that someday.
Like I think I brought up Gunsmith Cats like a year ago on this podcast. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely like an otaku series.
Me and my friends, we did this thing where we would click the random button on Crunchyroll and just watch the first and last episode of an anime.
I think it's a crime, and you should go to jail for that.
Oh, let me tell you, a lot of that was dog shit, and we weren't going to watch it anyways. That was part of the fun. And if we saw something we're like, maybe we should watch this, we would not watch the final episode. One of those was fucking Burst Angel, which I also think about when I think of Girls with Guns. And we never got back around to that, but we watched a few episodes, we're like, this is shockingly fun. It's stupid, but it's really fun.
Using this method, you could have watched the first episode of Thunderbolt Fantasy. It could have happened to you.
It did not.
No.
We watched a lot of shit that was just like,
There's a lot of shit on Crunchyroll.
yeah, and a lot of it's just like, oh, this is getting some bad vibes from this. The final episode is just like, oh, this is vile.
Yes.
Maybe the funniest though was the Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai anime. Where it's just like, 100 episodes of like a fucking adventure happened.
Yeah, I watched 5 episodes of that, and that was pretty nice, but I also fell off because it's like 100 episodes.
Yeah, I was like, I would actually want to go back and watch that, but I do not care about getting spoiled on a Dragon Quest thing, if I'm being honest, so.
Damn.
Yeah.
No respect. No respect for Dragon Quest.
The random anime button is also, I'm pretty sure, how we discovered Girly Air Force, which we did watch all of. Terrible show.
Okay, does Crunchyroll still have a random button?
No, well, okay, so here's the thing, though, is they took away the random button on us. We always joked it was because of us. But I think if you go to Crunchyroll/random, oh no, it doesn't work anymore. Shit.
Oh.
That's fucked up. There used to be a workaround. Maybe it's just gone now. Random button gone, Reddit poster says.
Oh, you can still do this. You can still do random Crunchyroll anime.
Is it crunchyroll.com/random?
/random/anime.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, if you want a fun thing to do with your friends, do that and then watch the first and last episode of an anime. This is also, I believe, how my friends discovered Hellgirl, which they watched all of and fucking loved, so. Sometimes you discover cool shit you otherwise would not watch.
Imagine doing this with Madoka Magica.
Hell yeah.
I need to fucking watch that show.
You do need to you need to watch Madoka Magica. You need to watch. Well, I mean, there's no urgent reason to watch Psychopaths on account of the fact that the new Psychopaths is bad. Never watch any new Psychopaths ever.
Yeah, I need to immerse myself in the world of magical girl stuff. Beyond what I like. I watched Cardcaptor Sakura, the bad dubbed version as a child.
Yeah, you should watch the good version of that show because Cardcaptor Sakura is very good.
Yeah. I should do that.
That's my wheelhouse, but also I still need to like fill in gaps, major gaps. So
I did one thing. This week.
What'd you do?
Oh, you mixed up the order.
Yeah, I just assumed you didn't have anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really talking about this is the thing, but I did one thing.
Okay.
I watched El Cid.
Okay.
Which is a 1960s movie with Charlton Heston as El Cid, the first hour of which is a hilarious romance in which El Cid is going to get married to Shemaine, his wife. El Cid, a very popular story. Spain's King Arthur kind of, but real. There's some story liberties in there, but El Cid was a real guy, which is part of the appeal. There's his epic poem is actually realist. It's not fantastical. And he's due to get married to Shemaine, and then he kills her dad because he won't take back an insult to his dad.
Damn.
And then, they have there's an incredible couple of hours of the movie where he's just like, my king, do I have your permission to marry Shemaine? Because now she doesn't have a father to protect her or anything. And the king's like, yeah. And Shemaine's like, I'm going to arrange to have El Cid killed. And wedding night sat across from each other at a table, just saying yeah, I hate you. The El Cid, kind of a pretty cool movie, just in terms of like it being an epic. There's some ideology happening in this movie though, because obviously it's about like the era of Spain when much of it was ruled by Muslim lords.
Let me see. Francisco Franco died 1975. That explains some things. Anyway.
What's going on?
I was just checking when Franco died.
I see.
Well, does this movie fall in that era? Yes.
It's not made in Spain.
Oh, it's not? Where is it made?
It's made in Italy. It stars Charlton Heston. It's like it's in English. There's just the point is the real history of the era is interesting, but you can't talk about it because the moment you get into the actual moral values of the era, you have to ignore that there are real world political implications of the depictions of the relationship between Christianity and Islam at the time. And like
there's a degree to which like the Reconquista was like a crusade in the West that succeeded in a way the one East failed, and the displacement of people because of that.
Yes, but this is my point is this movie is not like about the real era, because like there's a degree to which there's like this is like El Cid is Kira Yamato in Spain, being like, oh, the two peoples, they hate each other, and if only we could live together, and ignoring like obviously the real history here is it's all feudal lords, and there's like some religious conflict, but the main driving force of this is like feudalism and territory, and it's different, but there is El Cid was a real guy who did like rule a sort of like pluralistic Valencia for a brief period, and is like had fought on the sides of the Christians and on the side of the Moors at various times in his life. And so he's like this fascinating figure of history, because like he's always about like threading loyalty, because he's this perfect gallant knight or whatever. And this movie kind of positions this as, if only the Christians and the Muslims of Spain could get along, because then we could beat back the evil African Muslims
oh god
that are coming to invade.
I guess
they're way more fundamentalist.
I guess this is like the period would be like the Almohads in Morocco, I guess, is the period, and they have their own view of Islam. Yeah, I guess I'm not an expert in this period, but just my understanding.
This is all based on real things that happened.
Yeah.
So like the Berbers did invade. They did besiege Valencia, and they did eventually. Every thing about El Cid cuts the story short before what happens is El Cid dies, and then the city is defended by his wife. And the various versions of the story, one of the most popular myths about El Cid is this idea that he died before the final charge, and they tied his corpse to his horse and sent him out in front of the cavalry charging into the enemy. And this is obviously the El Cid movie. Charlton Heston fucking doing his best corpse impression on a horse at the end of this movie. And it's pretty fucking cool. But also, it is so tied up in the this thing where, like, at the very beginning of the movie, Yusuf, the leader of the Berbers, him and all his guys are all, like, deliberately designed as, like, oh, it's all menacing, and oh, they won't show their face, and meanwhile the lords, the Muslim lords in Spain are all wearing, like, so many colors, and they're all so sophisticated, and so you know, we can get along with people like this, you know, Yusuf at the beginning of the movie, like, shaming these lords, saying, like, oh, you're all women and poets, and I'm like, we're dealing with some high, like, the exact tweet was, I hope this movie's good, because it's 3 hours long and I have to go to bed, like, very immediately after, and then that scene happened, and I was like, the question of whether this movie is good is no longer relevant. It is out of the window. We are in a realm of pure ideology, my friend. And so, yeah, bizarre film. I mostly had a good time. I preferred it when it was about his, like, El Cid's fucked up relationship with the kings of Spain, with the kings of Castile and Leon, because, like, after that we get into the Kira Yamato stuff. it is really stupid, but you know, I mostly had a decent time.
Well, next you can watch the Sky's Reign of Terror movie, which is Wikipedia tells me is about plotters seek to bring down Robespierre and end his bloodthirsty reign of terror. 90 minutes.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course they do. Damn, I did not actually look up who I wanted to look
Anthony
up
Mann.
Okay, what I wanted to look up was, these are 3 guys who worked on the screenplay. I'm not going to be able to right now. But yeah, it's obviously it's like a 1960s epic, and so when they do a battle, it's just, we just hired so many people.
You know, that's cool.
Maybe
part
hired
of Cliff.
Oh yeah, they put so many. It's like fucking Waterloo, that movie that's just like, yeah, we just, you know, this is what the Soviet army is for. We put them in the movie Waterloo. Red Cliff is just, damn. Anyway, that's me. I'm done. We can talk about Ultraman Ace.
We did it. I don't know why I said it like that.
So, let me take a drink. I'm dying here.
Don't die.
Red's dying, Cloud.
Red's doing the podcast while tied to their horse. Somehow delivering the summaries.
Yep. El Red. So, let me pull up my summaries here. Episode 7. Now.
Yeah.
This is an interesting title for the episode for me to read out loud.
Yeah.
Because there are choices to be made.
Choices to be made.
There are specifically, it would be much easier without the inclusion of the third thing. And I realized, oh no. Am I going to be ridiculous enough to call this episode 7 Kaiju versus Choju versus Seijin?
Oh, you mean monster versus terrible monster versus alien?
Yeah. Featuring Doragori, Metron Jr., and Marucci. Marucci Jr.
Featuring Marucci is a strong word for this two-parter.
We're like guest starring Marucci.
You have to be nicer to your guests than that.
It's like, I feel like we'll get to that part. But as far as like Marucci's screen time, it just reminds me of when Brad was talking about WrestleMania, and it's just like 2 guys show up for like 5 minutes and then leave.
We will have to talk about it because the use of Marucci is baffling given what Marucci is. Anyway,
yeah. That's awesome.
My jaw was on the floor and so was his.
The burning planet, mysterious star Goran, is on a collision course with Earth.
Guys who had seen the movie Gorath.
I was about to say, okay, this episode started, I went, okay, come the fuck on.
But not to worry. The crew's got this. They're launching the interstellar ballistic missile Maria 1 to destroy the planet. Easy. The crew doesn't even need to stick around to see it. They're going to head back to base right now. Before he does...
I love how the like, you know, bold cinematic, like, responsible way to deal with this same plot premise in Gorath is let's move the planet out of the way. Now, Subaraya Productions, we need to blow that fucking thing up, let me tell you.
Yeah.
What a contrast.
Do we have an interstellar ballistic missile on hand? Of course we do. It's for heroes. The crew doesn't even need to stick around to see this. They're going to head back to base right now. Before he goes, Yamanaka, the Alucard from Helsinki, gives an engagement ring to Maya, a woman remaining at the launch site, instantly dooming her and the launch.
She's also 2 weeks from retirement. She's going to go see her puppy in like a weekend, etc.
Alien Metron Jr. appears, destroys the missile, destroys the launch site, and personally executes Maya and possesses her body. Fuck you.
Did Metron always have Force Lightning, by the way?
No.
Okay, I was like, I don't think he had it last time.
Do not think he could do like telekinesis stuff. Like this was like the whole thing was like he could drive cars with his mind.
Yeah.
Also, he exchanged Force Lightning for the power of speech.
True.
Yamanaka unknowingly rescues Alien Metron. Fake Maya is in recovery, and Yamanaka tells her, "Don't worry about Earth. We've still got the Maria blueprints, so we just have to build another missile in 6 days."
Yeah. Also, the blueprints are on this exact location of this building.
Yes. The Choju, Doragori, sent by the Yapul, attacks, and Metron takes this opportunity to sneak around the base and try to find the blueprints. Hokuto sees Metron walking around out of disguise and shoots Metron in the arm, tracks him back to Maya's room, only to find she has a gunshot wound in her arm. Yamanaka stops Hokuto from killing Maya, but Doragori's attack stops the confrontation from going any further. Hokuto and Minami will have to use the Ace barrier to stop Doragori, but that will drain the life force of one of them. It might be Minami. It might be Hokuto. The only thing we know for sure is it's definitely going to be Minami. But they have both committed to this possibility via some cool psychic communication earlier. They transform, and Ace fights, but doesn't get anywhere and has to use the barrier. Ace spins at high speed, and this creates a crack in the atmosphere, which he plunges the Choju into. He casts Spanish. It lasts 1 day, and Minami is drained. In the confusion, Metron strutted in to TAC HQ, killed everyone with finger guns, and destroyed the blueprints for Maria. Yeah. In the aftermath, Kaji reassures everyone that there's a second set of blueprints in his brain.
He's like, damn, all these people died. Good thing I didn't.
Yeah, good thing I did. I'm fine. Hokuto once again accuses Maya of being Metron, and the crew makes him apologize to Yamanaka for trying to kill his fiancée. Minami also encourages him to apologize, but later confirms she believes him, but clearly thinks there are more convincing ways of going about this. Yamanaka, meanwhile, is having doubts about Maya. She encourages him to kill Hokuto, and he's like, didn't she used to get mad at me for stepping on bugs? Nah, I'm imagining things. It's Maya. She wants to go see the missile. And Yamanaka's like, well, I shouldn't. But seeing as I trust you, let's go. Hokuto and Minami are on guard at the door to the site where the missile is being built. Hokuto tells Yamanaka he's free to try to shoot him. And Yamanaka's like, what do you mean try? Shooting people is my thing. Minami steps in and agrees to let Maya see the missile if she'll just hand over the ring on her finger. Maya agrees, removing the engagement ring and giving it to Minami. Yamanaka is horrified. Realizing her mistake, Maya pulls a gun from Yamanaka, and Yamanaka's like, I literally just said I'm the guy who shoots people, and pulls his other pistol and guns down Maya. And then she turns into Metron, and then turns big, as you do in an Ultraman show.
Yeah, I really like the shot where, like, do you see, like, Metron floating on the cliff, and then he falls over behind the cliff and then grows big? It's good.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, Big fight now. Metron plus Doragori reappears. Plus Marucci is here?
For some reason.
Why is Marucci here?
Marucci just showed up like, I mean, I saw something was going on. I wasn't invited,
You know what?
but
You know what? In about like 3 minutes, Marucci's gonna also ask why he showed up.
Yes! Cliffhanger ending as Ultraman Ace is getting his ass kicked by all three of these guys. The end. So that is the first episode. How much do we want to talk about this before we go into the next one?
I think we should run these two together.
Yeah, let's just do it as one batch.
Okay.
I guess I'll say for now that both of these were directed by Masanori Kake. However, they have different writers. This one was written by Shinichi Ichikawa.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Episode 8. Life of the Sun is the Life of Ace. Featuring the same guys. Picking right back up from where we left off, Ace is getting his ass kicked and then tricks Doragori and Marucci to charge into each other. Doragori, not a fan of that, tears Marucci apart. I'm talking real gory shit, blood spurting everywhere, lower jaw ripped off. This is fucking wild.
Yeah, like grabs by the bottom flap of the mouth and then tears down, ripping off the bottom part of Marucci's head down to like the chest into the torso.
Yeah, it's like wild. I just like my jaw dropped, not like Marucci's, but you know.
Yeah. The wiki does have, I should tag this. Hold on.
Like an image of the jaw.
Of just the jaw.
Yeah,
prop.
I saw that. I thought it too when I was doing like the.
It looks like beef jerky.
Yeah, it's like wild.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I can't believe they got away with that shit. I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot.
And that's like the most egregious in this episode, but it's not even the last bit in this episode. Like,
no.
All three of these Kaiju Choju Seijin go out in wild ways. We'll wait until the end of the episode.
We'll talk about
it. The other two are fine. I have some moral indignation about doing this to Marucci. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. So where was it? Yes. Anyway, back to Ace. Getting his ass kicked by Metron and Doragori, he uses the barrier once again, this time on both the alien and the Choju, leading to Minami winding up in a hospital bed in critical condition. It used her life force again, not Hokuto's again.
It's so funny how that keeps working.
Yes, Hokuto talks about this. When he talks about this, he's talking about it like he's in control of Ace. He's like, I did this. I did it. And he spent Minami's life like an MP bar to use the barrier, and Minami is like, I knew the risks. Metron reappears in a bubble, Return of Bubbles, and the captain says to leave it alone. It seems to be hibernating, and we need to focus on building Maria too. A vengeful Yamanaka is like, well, that's one order I will obviously not be obeying, and launches an attack on Metron, which does nothing except wake him up. The captain is livid, and Yamanaka offers to resign. Captain Ryu says something along the lines of, are you just fucking stupid? Oh, I messed up, I feel bad, so you can fire me. It's the end of the world. We are already down a Minami. Suck it up and do your job. Jesus Christ. And Yamanaka's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, no problem, boss. Metron and Doragori attack once again and are on site at the missile launch as Goran gets closer and closer. This is the last chance. This launch has to succeed. Minami, kind of dying, says, Hokuto, take me with you. We have to save the world. And the doctors are like, no. And Hokuto's like, yes, absolutely. out in the field, he's telling her the plan, and she collapses mid-explanation.
I like how they also spent time putting her in uniform again.
Yes. And Hokuto's like, oh, well, shit, runs off, fires his gun a little, and then yells, Yuko! And I don't know if that's the first time he's called her Yuko or something. It might be. But she wakes up, crawls towards him so they can transform. Ace defeats...
I like the shot where he just, like, dives at her and they transform.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is pretty cool. Ace kicks away Metron and Doragori, and the missile launches. Ace defeats Metron using the guillotine, which splits Metron in half and his guts all fall out.
That is not the way you cut a hot dog.
No. Then Ace, drained of power again, straight up dies, I think, as the color timer blinks its last blink and shuts off, and the eyes lose light. But Ace fought long enough that the missile launched, and it destroys the mysterious star Goran. This reveals the sun once again, and the power of the sun re-energizes Ace, who kicks the shit out of Doragori, and straight up Kakashi punches a hole in it, then summons a sword and decapitates it, and then explodes it with the Spacium beam. And I'm like, okay.
It needs to be said, summons the sword from the sunlight, and then just twirls it around like a revolver ocelot. Absolutely.
Ace flies away, and Hokuto returns to the crew with Minami, who is fine now.
Yeah, I really like the Minami just doing the go, "Oi, I'm alive" bit.
Yes.
I was like, damn, I thought Minami died.
On Captain Ryu's orders, they all take a deep breath to feel that they truly are alive. The end. So, first, right, there's a couple of big things in this episode we have to hit, but in these 2 episodes we have to hit. But first of all, I just want to say, last week, or the week before, I can't remember when, I referred to Ultraman Ace as Hokuto, and I no longer feel like I was wrong. The whole thing here is like Hokuto controls Ace, and Minmi's just in there.
Yeah, he's in the driver's seat, and she's in the engine compartment.
Yeah.
It's something.
I feel like we're actually getting decent female characters. It's just that Minami isn't one of them, and she's the protagonist, which is a problem.
Yeah, the other woman in the show's got more going on. This is now Minami does get something cool in these 2 episodes, which is the ring thing, where she's like, Hokuto, you have to stop announcing that his fiance is an alien that you want to shoot. You really have to just demonstrate this.
Yeah.
Minami would help Go deal with a child.
This is the most damning thing you can say about a character. Yeah. But there's more in these episodes to talk about. So first of all, before we ignore it entirely, Yamanaka's stuff with his fiance is goofy, but I'm mostly here for. I like obviously just like she is introduced and immediately dies, and that's a whole thing. But of those things, I do enjoy it happening to a guy whose whole thing is he's gun toting, or like shoots a gun out of Hokuto's hand. Like the moment the reveal happens, he guns her down. I'm like, this is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, that's Yamanaka. We've got a Yamanaka episode.
It's like, oh yeah, his fiance, he's known for a while, but it's like only like the first time we introduce her and she dies. I feel like it's just like one of those things that's like the limitations of the era.
Yeah.
I love also how he gives her the ring and is like, he doesn't say outright he's proposing, but he's just like, oh, I want to give you this
engagement
wedding ring. Yeah. It's like he's kind of dancing around it. It's so funny.
She doesn't even say yes. She
No.
says, I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the kaiju?
Let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only do we have former Ultra Brothers showing up in the show, we also got, it seems like they're more than happy to sprinkle in some old faces on the alien and kaiju front.
That makes sense. Like, if they're gonna loop in the lore, then bring in some old guys makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd pick different guys.
There are some choices for this Metron design.
So let me line this up with old school Metron. So Ultra 7 Metron. Let me have a look at Ultra 7 Metron.
I think Metron's fine.
He's got like a weird like V mouth thing, and that's the most distracting thing for me. But otherwise, I think he's okay. I do think
If I
he looks
Google
like he's.
Ultraman Ace, if I Google Ultraman Ace Metron, am I just gonna get
Hold on a second. Let me get.
gore of my comfort character?
Yeah, let me get.
Okay, while you're doing this, I do want to point out this comment thread on the Ultraman wiki for the Marucci gallery page, in which someone, a fandom user, posted in 2016, "I now Marucci 2 just got wrecked by Doragori," and then at the bottom of this thread, Marucci fan 1993, dang.
You're right, man. Dang.
Here's like the Ace one. And here's.
Oh, you're right. This does look a little.
I did picture this when
here's
he
the-
was walking in.
Here's the Ultra 7 one. He's got fucking bell bottoms in Ace.
Yeah, so I did wonder for a second why it was that when he walked in, he strutted. I wrote it as strutted because he walked into HQ, started doing finger guns at people, and they died. And all the entire time I was picturing it, I was just imagining editing his walk to Staying Alive. I was, yeah, Alien Metron, first of all, legendary guy. You pull him in to get he puts up more of a fight, but also doesn't do any talking. And like Metron's thing is, hey, come sit down. Let's chat.
Here's a close up of the face. Yeah, I feel like this does feel like grabbing a guy and not really thinking about why grabbing him.
Yeah, talking about grabbing a guy and not really knowing why you're grabbing him. I think it's irresponsible to put Marucci in this episode. Which I think maybe hits on part of my why I find some aspects of the original Marucci episode uncomfortable is just like this is a guy in the canon now that you can pull out as like, oh, legendary bad guy from Ultraman, and I'm like, no, it's not. That's the man of as there's like a Go quote from the episode. It's like Marucci is the alien's anger.
Pulgasari shaking hands with Marucci.
Yes. yes. And I'm just like, I think grabbing Marucci represents it, when that episode is like about like horrific real world, such a horrific real world event, and being like, oh yeah, we'll grab Marucci to get owned immediately by Doragori. I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
that does feel weird. Yeah,
I really want to know what they were thinking with this one. Like,
what were they thinking? Sorry.
Like, I think I enjoyed the episode on a whole, but it's like, oh, these are choices.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm enjoying myself, but there are choices.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like, it does feel like, that episode in particular, grabbing Mike Marucci, and like to a lesser extent Metron, like Metron is like more like a stylistic choice, whereas like Marucci is kind of like associated with like a really strong, impactful, emotional thing, so.
Mm-hmm. And it is a shame because I do think this shit goes fucking hard.
Yeah.
I do think it's fucking wild. How goddamn. Just
yeah. So like
the Marucci jaw tear is easily the wildest bit because it's like immediately like blood spurting from the wound
it's like,
and stuff.
It's like the most graphic we've gotten. Like
yeah.
And like
even with all the decapitations we've had, and like the comical amount, the blood stuff, but this is like the most like if you look at Evangelion and go, oh, this is all Ultraman, and you're sort of thinking, well, where does the blood come from then?
Yeah,
and you're like, well,
yeah,
wonder.
I share some of the fight scene, like the kill shots from this episode in the AM server yesterday, and someone replied like, damn, Anno stole everything. Anno didn't invent shit.
Yeah.
It's coming together.
It does have, like, this is the most, like, we are watching YouTube wildlife kill compilation energy to it. Like it feels predatory in a way that I was not expecting this to go.
Or like Mortal Kombat, also predatory.
Yeah.
Like cards on the table for a sec, but I've heard that like Ace has a bit of a reputation for like some getting pretty violent, but like I was caught off guard by this.
I see. There must have been any Ace people familiar with Ace listening to first episode where I'm like, dark? I don't see it. Really? Just for an older audience? Come on. Come on. You're not getting that past me.
Metrod gets cut in half and like yellow corn bits cut. Like it's
blue
so
stuff,
gross.
Yeah.
Like the effect of like, how did you do that too? Like,
very impressive and honestly, kind of hardcore.
It is funny how like Ace punches a cylindrical hole in Dogori.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a perfect cylinder. It's
so relatively
fantastic.
clean.
This is why I went to Kakashi, because he's like his whole thing. Like Naruto is full of guys with like fancy powers, and Kakashi's power is, well, I put lightning in my hands and it makes me go really fast, and then I punch people through the chest and put up like perfect circular hole in them. It was a wild episode. Wild couple of episodes. I liked them. I like them. I have obviously I continue to have weird feelings about Marucci overall. It's just entirely.
I think that is like one of the just unfortunate side effects of when you get to like franchiseification, and especially MCUification.
Yeah. I referenced it in the summary, but I love the scene when the captain just lays into this idea of like responsibility, like using this like idea of taking responsibility as liberty to do whatever you want and then just accept getting fired. And like this idea that's just such a profoundly selfish perversion of the concept of duty. I thought that was great.
It's good.
What else is in this episode?
Not Minami.
Nope.
No.
That's mean. She's in this more than most, which is maybe an indictment.
She's just dying all the time.
Yeah.
She's it's like, it could be, either of us could lose our energy from using the barrier. No, Hokuto.
Ace, the toyification of Ultraman continues. We got the sword.
Yeah.
We do got the sword. I'm pro this toyification. I like him having the sword. He did
just like
some pretty cool shit with that sword.
I was caught off guard. I was like, why would you do that? But I liked it.
Hell yeah.
Always good to have a nothing personal shot.
Absolutely. Who wrote this episode?
Shozo Uehara.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
This feels like Axis Drop on episode 6 levels of energy.
Mm-hmm. it's just it's such a the fucking oh yes, sorry, I forgot to mention there's a specific shot that I find reminiscent of a shot toward the end of Ideon, which is the shot when Goran gets destroyed, and the way they convey it getting destroyed is rocks flying towards the screen, and they fly towards the screen in like the exact same manner that rocks fly towards the screen in the moment when Ideon because listen, a planet gets cut in half in Ideon.
I didn't think about it, but you're right.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Yeah,
and then I don't know that it's like a deliberate reference or anything, or if it's just like this is just a
I know
it's conveying it.
It's a very easy visual shorthand for massive destruction in space.
Yeah, it is a funny effect.
And of course, Ultraman is Superman.
Me,
Okay.
guy whose Twitter ad is B_invoked, getting a lot of idiot vibes from.
I bet Ano made the connection and it was like, holy shit.
The thing is, if you go through life watching anime and going like, getting Ideon vibes from this, or getting Gundam vibes from this, you're gonna be right a lot of the time.
You are. If you take away anything from this podcast that isn't watching Ultraman, I do think all three of us can agree. You should go watch Space Runaway Idiot. It's a fucking great time.
It's good. Good show.
Unless you suffer from any kind of like photosensitive epilepsy, in which case, no, do not.
Yeah.
Do not watch the show.
Or the Dunbine OVAs, because Jesus fucking Christ.
The Dunbine OVAs?
Yeah, nobody got to know who he is.
It's the worst it's ever been.
It's pretty bad in Gal Gaigar, but, you know.
It's just like
I've heard
blue-red alternate flashing.
Oh,
that's the
awful.
one. That's the one.
Awful.
That's the one.
Yeah, I think I could send a clip after. Because
there's already
it's
some
bad.
stuff like that in Dunbine where I'm like, it's not nice to look at.
Yeah.
While Brad's doing that, I'll get my stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna try. I feel like I'm trying to like not find unnecessary trivia these days, but you know, I'll do what I can.
Mm-hmm.
Special effects director was Kazuo Sagawa. This is going to make Red mad. The original plan for this episode was for Seagrath to appear and not Marucci.
That would have been so much better.
And I don't know why. There's no reason given why they went with one or the other. It was probably arbitrary, but like.
Oh, hang on. Wait, no. Okay, no. Hang on. It would have been better. It would have been less worse. Seagrath. You can't just do Seagrath on their own because the whole thing is it's part of a couple. It's part of a pair.
Yeah, you can't do Seagrath on their own like they did in the finale of Return of Ultraman. Wait, what? There was one episode near the end where they were like,
oh yeah,
it was like the Knuckle. It was Knuckle. They brought back Seagrath to train to test. But yeah, I do think like Seagrath does feel wrong.
Yeah. I think all the picks of which guys to bring back there completely incorrect. I was like F grade, all of you.
What if it was Red King? What would you think?
Absolutely.
You want rip off Red King's jaw?
They would go hard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been multiple Red Kings at this point, though, too, haven't there?
Yeah, we've had two. Not counting the one in Blazer.
It's not like Blazer Red King put up like a great fight.
No, he hid behind the other guy.
Yeah.
Metron should have been Bolton the Third.
More Bolton.
It's funny they use the junior appellation like twice.
I assume at some point they give that up.
Yeah. I'm just like, I mean, it is a thought I had after Bolton Jr. where like I know in Earthbound and like Mother 1 there's like a Starman Jr. I wonder if there's like a inspiration there, but I don't know.
Okay, possibly.
It's just something I thought I'd mention. Just I was like, also, the Marucci suit was repurposed for one they're using for live events following the filming of the original episode, and then the staff was reprimanded for tearing the suit into pieces. They were like, "Why? We used that suit. Why'd you destroy it?"
Okay, you know what? I'm pro this now. They can't wheel Marucci out as a mascot. If you destroy the suit.
That's true.
Consign that one to history. They will not do this. They will not do this. They will continue to wheel out Marucci, I presume, as an iconic Return of Ultraman kaiju.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do we have anything else about these two episodes?
I think this is for our first two-parter. This is pretty solid.
Yeah. It's needs to be said. High stakes. Ace has to deal with this on his own. The Ultra
you know what?
I think that's good.
The brothers show up to help him out with some random chump, but when it's the Earth's about to fucking end, they're like, "Yeah, you do it."
When the timer shit was happening this episode, I was really worried fucking Zoffy was gonna show up or some shit, and I was like, no. But no,
I think
the sun is what saves everyone at the end.
Yeah.
There is something genuinely effective about like the blinking just stops and they turn off the lights in the eyes, and I'm like,
yeah,
Toru Naruto get fucked.
Toru Naruto. This has been my one thing where I've been like with Toru Naruto, where I've been like, yeah, you're right, dude. The blinking light does fucking suck. Like, I'm with you, my guy. You and me to the end.
It is unfortunate that we're like, it is just with us.
It's with us for all time now. I get it. I get it here. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And then Superman.
Yeah.
Powered by the sun.
Yeah.
Yellow suns only.
Yeah. It is. I assume it was just the case of the Ultra Brothers just being like, he has to earn gang save by the Ultra Brothers.
Of course.
It's Ultraman's mentality. He has to earn it.
It's a hierarchy of earning saving, all the way up to the top. Does who saves the person at the top?
We need to figure.
The Lord.
We'll figure out more guys, I'm sure, going forward.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get into episode 8? No, episode 9.
You mean 9?
I do mean 9.
You mean 100,000 terrible monsters surprise attack plan?
I mean, I guess I don't have to read the title out now. Thank you. Featuring Ninja Choju Games. Spelt games, which meant that Dogs kept trying to correct my grammar.
I feel like there's a disconnect
as a single thing.
I think there's a disconnect between the subtitles and the official transliterations, because I'm getting Gamis when I look online, like as in Gamma S.
Yeah, same.
Oh, that's not what I have.
Though with one
S.
Though the booklet it's Gamis with one M, not two.
Yeah, like a letter Gamma.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's not what I'm getting. Interesting.
I've ran into this a few times, with sometimes the subs just don't use the same transliteration as the official one. Yeah.
You know where this kaiju didn't show up? The PS3.
Where? That's true.
Has no Gavis.
PS3 has no Gavis.
Unlike Zenica, which was on the PS3.
Chad Warden personally killed this terrible monster.
I fucking love that tweet that goes around sometimes. I think you retweeted it the other day. It was the first time I thought about Chad Warden.
The police.
It's so fucking long. It's like
Chad the police are onto us. Chad Warden, who made a deal with the police 5 hours later. Oh, come on now.
Minimi to Hokuto. Oh, Hokuto, we're going to die. Who? We?
Come on.
It's not my life source being trained.
Oh, thank you, Chad Warden.
Thank you, Chad Warden. Where am I?
At the start. Yes. You haven't started reading.
At the start, I haven't started. The crew prepare to ambush Choju Gamis with their new RX missile, and Kono has the job of taking a photo of Gamis for the database. But Junko Samejima, a reporter from a magazine called Monthly Boys, distracts him.
Same. Every month, I'm a boy.
Obviously referring to a demographic. Everyone.
Yes.
We're mature adults.
Monthly Boys is how I feel about the Mirror Man guys.
That's how Monthly Boys, yeah.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be here, but she insists, I got invited by Hokuto. Gamis appears, wrecks the TAC Falcon before it can launch the missile, and then disappears as soon as Junko takes her photo. Kono misses the shot, and Junko refuses to share. There wouldn't be a scoop otherwise. Evil Yuriko, she heads home and develops the photo, which will be on the front page and should earn the respect of the editor she has a crush on. The editor sucks and is the second worst man who appears in this episode. Kono doesn't confess the truth to the crew and instead stalls while he tries to convince Junko to share the photo with him. She says, Hokuto picked one up already. And Kono's like, oh, okay. All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, she uses Hokuto's excuse to, like, get into the...
He then asks for a photo of her, too, because she reminds him of her first love, and she is repulsed by the fat man. She gets a taxi and briefly spots Gammas moving in photo she's developed. She thinks nothing of it. She's just like, oh, I'm tired. She needs to stop by to change her 10,000 yen bill for smaller change. And while she's gone, the taxi driver has a glance through the photos and gets fucking exploded along with his taxi. Gammas appears and causes havoc until the crew puts a stop to it with RX missiles. Gammas turns into energy and hides once again in Junko's negatives. Kono stops by again, this time with Hokuto, and confronts her about her lies. She says that Tak conceals the appearance of Choju, and the public deserves to know, freedom of the press, etc. Hokuto is angry that he's in trouble for disclosing Tak's secrets to the public when he did no such thing. The argument goes on, getting more heated, until Hokuto calls her an unruly woman and hits her. He refuses to apologize and leaves, leaving Kono to apologize in his place, and Junko agrees to share the photo with him. The classic good cop, woman hit a cop routine, which is a certain percentage. You can look those percentages up. Back at base, the crew finds the photo has a sword in it, whereas Gammas did not have a sword when the photo was taken. They subject the photo to tests and find that sound waves cause Gammas within the photo to react and move. They destroy the photo, and Kono is ordered... What happens is the captain stands up and says, destroy the photo, and it instantly bursts into flame. It's good. I want to be able to do that to anything in my house. Anything, I would... if the toaster's fucking annoying me, I'm like, destroy the toaster. Bam!
And then you need to go buy a new toaster.
I already need to go buy a new toaster. That's why I hate it. Where am I? Oh, yeah. They destroy the photo, and Kono is ordered to destroy the negatives. And he's like, the what? He comes clean, and the crew heads to Junko's place. She says the negatives are already with her editor, and there will be 100,000 copies by tomorrow. The crew heads to the editor, who gets murked by one of the photos. Gammas appears, and Hokuto and Minami turn into Ace. Gammas uses all its ninja tricks, but Ace manages to skewer it with its own sword and hits it with a blast of energy, destroying the Choju and bringing the 100,000 Gammas plan to an end. Back at base, Yamanaka shoots the negatives, of course, and Kono heads off on a date with Junko, while Hokuto says, she sucks, why would he date her? Everyone laughs about him being stuck on his first love. Hokuto declares that women are wicked, and Minami hurts him for it at the end.
He deserves it. By what she
does
said
deserve it. Yeah.
The gender stuff where, like, their minds do not meet at all inside of Ace's body.
Gender is in this episode. Gender has not been transcended. Ultraman Ace has not transcended gender. Hokuto, it's unruly woman, slap. Wild. So where to start with
this week's episode? A lot of women hitting this week between this and Mirror Man.
Yes. Yes. By the heroes.
Yeah.
Of Naturally. Hideki Go did it.
I like we had a Yuriko episode.
I was gonna say, like, I guess more so for, like, the last batch than this, but, like, I feel like we've gotten, like, a lot of character-centric stuff, like, this first batch around.
I do kind of wonder if they've, like, learned some lessons from Return of Ultraman of, like, pulling, like, some of the better stuff from the Cicadas, but, like, integrating that stuff into the actual team.
Team?
Yeah. Because, like, Hokuto and Minami don't have their canon Aki or Jiro, but they're trying to make the guys on the team feel a bit more like guys, which was lacking a bit in Return because the focus was on the cicadas ostensibly. So.
Because pretty much all of the big hitters on the team have gotten kind of a center.
We haven't got the Kaiju nerd guy. He still feels like the UNO, where he's well, who are you? But
yeah,
we need him, and we need a
captain episode. Maybe I don't think we've gotten a captain centric one really yet.
Not the science guy either, but also I kind of have a sense of the science guy.
I like the science guy. He has an evil vibe.
Yeah.
As all science guys should. That's your job. Him, pulling off the dusty tome in episode 2 or whatever to be this is this is a terrible monster from Atlantis. But yeah, we need kaiju nerd guy. And Captain got some stuff at the end of episode 2, but we need Captain. We need Captain. But then again, Captain's the thing about the Captain role is it's a role you don't necessarily need lots of work to get a character out of.
You need moments, but you don't necessarily need a focus episode.
Yeah, because the leadership position is already something that really helps to bring out a character.
But I need to know what his home work personal life balance
does he
is
hate his wife?
I do. Yeah, I do need to know how much he hates his wife. I do. I need to know just how much he loves his crew more than his wife and daughter. There's truly the galaxy brain genius of Ibuki being oh, guys, you want me to have a day off to spend with my family? Oh, you're so sweet. And then going to spend time with his family and being I hate this. I don't want to be at work. I hate these two. Damn.
He did sacrifice his family for the mission.
Yeah, it's his job.
Yeah.
It's his job. Junko.
Yeah.
I am. The thing about Junko is she is really fun.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a fun character. It's clearly just wild, hatred of women happening just in terms of she has a crush on this terrible guy.
And I like how the guy doesn't even actually do anything. We just know the vibe.
He doesn't do anything. He just has a vibe.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything.
The guy
Hokuto hits her, and he's the hero.
The guy sits down and says one word. I'm I hate this guy.
Yeah, he calls her baby over the phone, and it's well, clearly this guy is the worst. And then is really she hates the fat guy because she's so shallow, and it's okay, man. All right, man.
Yeah.
But in within this realm of characters designed, characters written with misogyny in mind, this is a fun one. Yeah. She's fun. She's constantly causing problems. Her just being telling obvious lies to Kono and just being Hokuto told me.
We need more wild, troublesome female journalists in the Ultra series, because every time they do it, it's always fun.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes a character needs to get a scoop and is willing to do some crazy shit to get that scoop.
As someone who took a media photography class, let me tell you, I've heard some fucking stories.
Yuriko is a documentary.
She would have solved that murder.
When Metron went into the bathroom, it still had the mic on.
He's oh yeah, I
all the cigarettes, they're all
I doped all of them.
It's all space opium. Yeah, I just think the gimmick behind Choju is fantastic. The hiding in photos thing
that's good.
is great.
I think it's really funny when Yapua's like, hey, we're gonna give him a secret weapon, and they just beam down a sword into the negative. And they're like, wait a minute, this didn't have a sword before, right?
Yapua's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I love how they're like, okay, we need to be very careful about who we show this photo to, and then suddenly there's like one argument, like, it didn't have a sword, did it? And then they just immediately go and start showing it to people.
Oh, it's great.
Like
fantastic.
I think they immediately like show it to Roland Deschain guy Yamanaka.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Him shooting the negative, like the kaiju nerd guy presents the negatives for him to shoot, and is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull off a trigger, like quick draw, bam.
It's so funny. It's like, we're gonna destroy the negatives by shooting it with a gun in the office.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, well done. He's like, what do you mean, well done? I always hit my shots.
Well, he does.
It's just like usual.
So far, he's got a pretty good track record.
Yeah. He's still. I did spot you posted a screenshot of him like crossing over his hands to dual wield.
Yeah.
He's always sneaking those in. He's always doing way too much. There's the moment when Metron appears in the first episode, and Hokuto and Minami kind of like take 2 steps into cover, and Yamanaka does like full Dark Souls roll. It's brilliant.
The iframes are ridiculous.
Good character work on the body language stuff.
Yeah, that actor is having so much fun.
This guy's gonna start doing jump canceling.
Yeah. What else is in this episode? What's happening? Not much, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty straightforward.
Who made it?
Everyone's favorite director, Eizo Yamagiwa.
Okay.
And then written by Shinichi Ichikawa. You know, we say this a lot, but man was a weirdo, but goddamn, he made some good Ultraman.
Some people are just good.
Feels bad to say, but
well, you know what? You feel that way about Shirahanta too.
True. You know what? I presume the cult stuff doesn't hit until like the 80s, right? The late 80s.
I want to say it's even the 90s.
Okay, well,
was the big stuff.
So it is almost rude to call
95.
Okay. Well, that's like the big incident.
Yes, but I don't think he was involved until really the big incident stuff.
Okay. Wild time to pick. to be involved.
Because remember, he got involved with it because people who were related to / in it wanted to like move places or go to schools, and he was part of the people that were like, we can't just ostracize these people because of what a subset of them did. And then that group extremely did not make themselves look good by doubling down on the cult shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Point is, well done, cult man. This photo stuff's fun.
Yeah.
But you are right. This is 2 decades prior to when he went off the rails.
Well then.
I got stuff.
Mel.
Hello.
What do you have?
I got some trivia with some guys.
Guys.
The special effects director is Yoshio Tabuchi, who is an enigma. He worked at Toho in the 60s. He's been first assistant director on some episodes. For Return of Ultraman, he was assistant director on 15 to 17, 22, 23, 26, 27. He was also assistant director on Ace 5 and 6. Also assistant director on Japan Sinks, the movie. And then uncredited on the God of Godzilla movies versus Hedorah versus Gigan versus Megalon, and then Terror of Mechagodzilla. Just as an aside, it fucks me up knowing that Gigan premiered before Mechagodzilla. That's just weird to me. Like, Mechagodzilla is like at the end of the show era, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You make Mechagodzilla such like a standout.
Yeah, he's like considered one of the big five, and yet he doesn't debut until like the very final two Showa movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. But anyway, he's also going to be director for future special effects director, obviously, but for future Ace episodes. And he's also going to go do on some stuff for the Japan Sinks TV show and Zone Fighter, which is also in the next couple of years. Though his last known credit is for the movie Zero Pilot in 1976. Meanwhile,
cool.
Gamma's design is done by Yoshio Suzuki. This is allegedly his first Ace Kaiju design. Choju, I mean. Terrible monster. But it says he doesn't remember it because he made a bunch. He got to start at Toho in the 50s for moving to Tsuburaya in 1968 to work on Mighty Jack.
Hell yeah!
And he worked.
I like Mighty Jack. I've never watched it, and I probably never will.
What?
But I like it.
The Raws exist. Maybe one day we'll get subs.
Maybe one day.
He worked on Fight Mighty Jack after that, then Horror Theater Balance, and apparently, I don't know why it's called this. There's probably a good reason for it, but there's a show called Bachelor Scat, which was Superise's first J drama without special effects or science fiction elements. So that's interesting.
Okay.
He later became the lead art director for the Ultra series, starting from Ultraman Ace and throughout the next 3 shows with Taro and Leo. So this basically through the end of this era.
This is a very important guy.
He is known for a psychedelic and eccentric style, and this would be influential on future Toku works as well.
Good.
Kaiju's design principle. The monster is a symbol of non-harmony and exclusive being that doesn't allow others to come close to it.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Oh my god. This is hell of a way to start your principles. A being of non-harmony.
That's basically all of his principles. These are like shorter ones we're getting these days.
Yeah.
But, you know. Apparently,
we're no longer doing. To be honest, the era of these guys having like a thesis statement instead of a bullet point list is we're getting some interesting ideas.
Apparently, 1975, the year after Leo, he was instructed by Toho to return. Whatever the fuck that means. But yes, he went back for whatever reason. He was involved with the design of Tokyo Disney throughout the 80s. Mm-hmm. Some of his works in like the 80s and 90s include some of the Heisei Godzilla series, especially I think, or maybe in particular, maybe in only this one, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. He worked on a Shaw Brothers movie called Mighty Kingman, which is a kaiju movie that I have not brought up before, but I've seen it in a bunch of like these bios when I was doing research, and I just never brought it up. But it's come up enough, and I'm like, well, I should mention it. Apparently a bunch of people from X Tsuburaya had worked on that movie. I'm not gonna go back and check which ones I mentioned were in it, but just know that like a few of the guys I've brought up before have also worked on that movie. And finally, relevant to earlier this episode, he also worked as part of the Toho crew for Pulgasari.
Well, there you go.
Which is why I was like, well, now I have to talk about me.
Yeah.
I would be curious to hear what, like, the story is for how Toho got involved with that. Like, I know you said, like, there's the, like, cultural exchange, like, stuff going on and stuff, too. But, like, that's, like, a whole team of Toho people going over, so.
And it could just be, like, they just asked, and maybe just, you know, having, like, one guy who's from South Korea as a connection helped to make that easier. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it is interesting. I would say that probably explains why some of the suit work in the movie looks as good as it does, but also I say, like, you know, the special effects in the movie and the effects in general look pretty decent. So. But the suit, it looks better than expected. Also, one final point. The guy's still alive. I don't know what he's doing right now. He's probably retired. But it says at some point he became a high school teacher for a couple of years, and before stopping that, which is fun. As for some episode this self trivia that was fun, I was apparently told by Triblast that Kono's actor, after Ace finish, headcanoned a surprisingly extensive and detailed life story for the character of Kono.
Yes,
and included in his headcanon the fact that he got married to the Junko.
Good. Oh, that's wholesome.
King.
Also, part of his headcanon, he included the fact that he retroactively decided that the chef cameo he made in Return of Ultraman was also Kono.
Yes.
Just like, oh yeah, before he worked at TAC, he was just working in a diner.
Before the diner.
Yeah, before the Monster Attack team had to have a shake-up.
Well, no, that's a Monster Attack team. They're fighting terrible monsters at TAC. Different skill set.
The only reason... So, clearly, the TAC crew used to be the Monster Attack team, but then Choju happened, and they're like, well... we can't be the Monster Attack team anymore. We can't attack terrible monsters. It's outside of our jurisdiction.
See, what I'm thinking also too is like this. It's like there's no difference between monsters and terrible monsters. It's just a desperate plea for more funding to be like, oh shit, you guys won't believe this. They've gotten even more terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're just going. Yeah, your pool made him bad. That's why they're terrible.
On the other hand, we do see what happens when a kaiju goes up against a Choju today.
Ah, that's true.
Rip Marucci.
He just wasn't terrible enough.
No. He was a symbol of justice. That's why he lost.
Don't worry.
On that depressing note. Let's move on to what we have left.
Yeah, I got some
color timers.
I got some segments to do. So yeah, color timers.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So first of all, I said this is a joke last week, but then I went and did it. As promised.
Oh my god.
I got the run back for episode 1 for when they first show up.
Okay, so how long did they show up for?
So Zoffy, 1 minute and 23 seconds.
We did them individually.
Oh my god.
Ultraman, 1 minute 18 seconds.
Okay.
Ultra 7 doesn't have a color timer. Fuck you.
Hell yeah, go Ultraman. Ultra 7.
Ultraman 2, 1 minute 10 seconds, and then Ace, 1 minute 6 seconds.
Ultraman who? Ultraman 2?
Yeah. The new Ultraman.
Yeah. Hideki Go Ultraman.
Yeah. The one who returned instead of the one who was ostensibly returning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch the next time on?
Yes.
I did not.
Well, you don't mind spoilers, so
the return of
next
Ultraman.
week for the return of Ultraman.
We shouldn't have used that episode title.
No, we should. I do feel like every time I go to do a title, there is an opportunity to do a return of joke. And I have to resist it every time. I already have like titles set out for this episode already because it's very easy.
Yeah. We can see what we call next week.
Yeah, because like this week is either gonna be like Ultraviolence Ace or what else did I have? I don't know what else I had, so I guess it's Ultraviolence Ace.
I mean, you can come up with more in the week. We workshop it sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do like give a name and then add featuring to make it 2 names.
Yeah.
Because we cheat.
Yeah, we do.
Anyway,
I'll never top the end of Ultra Q though. Never.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, reincarnated in another world without my wife. It's a fantastic isekai title.
I like the simplicity of title drop.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, this week's actual timers. 2 minutes 13 seconds for episode 17. Hold on. Do this on the top.
We'll do that one again.
Episode 7. The first one, 2 minutes 13 seconds. The second one, 2 minutes 46 seconds, but continues the next episode. The first one for episode 8, 2 minutes 8 seconds for consolidated 4 minutes and 54 seconds.
I think we need to add the week of real life time that the episodes
fuck
are
you.
aired between. No.
Then episode 8's final fight, 4 minutes 45 seconds.
Damn.
And then episode 9, 2 minutes 55 seconds. Squeaking in.
All right.
Squeaking in.
Two out of 4
Yeah.
Yeah.
in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. Anyway, next.
Do we have any emails?
Well, first, I have brought back the Ultra Q runback trivia
Oh, okay. Go for it.
because I didn't do it for the finale and then the premiere, and then last week I was dying. But this week it's fun.
Yeah, you have time. You have time.
I have time now. So first off, classic guy, one of the highlights of Culture Q, just absolutely really resonated for us. Sudar, prop borrowed from Toe's Frankenstein vs. Beargon from 1965. Apparently, Rusaku Takayama sculpted an additional leg, and then later they returned it to Toho for War of the Gargantuas, also the same year as Ultra Q. Also, Toho Naruto had originally planned to design a fish kaiju, but this design was dropped because it turns out this episode features borrowed footage of an octopus monster from King Kong vs. Godzilla, and they wrote the episode with the borrowed footage in mind. So, like, yeah, that's going to be an octopus kaiju. Sorry. Rip to your fish, though.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got...
The footage of the octopus is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame about the episode.
Yeah. Shame it's racist. You should know better, Toru Naruto. Not Toru Naruto. I meant Tetsuo Kinsha. What
The other
fuck
guy.
did I do?
I was about to be like, wait, what?
Anyway, cut that part out. Goga, the goat, ranked number 1 by 2 of us.
You mean the snail?
Yes.
I legitimately thought you meant a goat for a second.
Yeah,
You never know with
Goat
kaiju.
Kaiju would go hard. Yeah.
we'll get goat one day, I'm sure.
By default.
Designed by Toru Naruto. There were 3 bottles, a small one, a medium one, and a large one. And the largest one was incinerated in that scene on camera. We saw it burn.
Nice.
The credit for the drill goes to Akira Sasaki or Shigeo Kurokata. There's the conflicting sources on this. The last one is Lily, who was played by Noriko Sakabe, and when I looked, it seems like this was the last role of acting she ever did. She did some child acting for a couple of years in the 60s, but then stopped.
Oh,
Okay. Ken Kumagai had his episode idea during Unbalance, and if I remember correctly, this was one of the first, despite being like near the end of the show, this was like one of the first episodes made in production order.
Hello.
Yeah, I remember
Hello,
we talked
Red.
about that, I'm pretty sure.
Hello. I'm here.
Did you have any Goga thoughts?
Do we have... Other than Goga fucking rules,
Yeah.
Goga best of all time. I think Goga's sick. Also, that episode's good. There's
Yeah.
some cool spy shit in that episode.
I just remember like
Yeah.
the incineration of the puppet thing.
It goes hard.
Yeah, it goes hard.
I also love
I
I love the bit when there's the tiny little figure of the man that Goga squishes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will always remember that episode for that, and also the Ippei bazooka.
Yes. Who
Why
let
does he
Ippei
have
touch
that?
a bazooka?
Just on the back of a jeep is like, what? This is just fucking Rambo all of a sudden. Rules.
It's just
Wow.
a shame they never got back Ippei to be a Matt or Ultra God guy like the way they got Jin.
I love that actor. He's so
Yeah.
good.
he died once in Ultra 7.
Yeah,
That's it.
Karasu killed him. Fucked up.
Yeah. Well,
Then finishing off,
do we have any emails?
just finish off my
Oh, go
Lily
ahead.
comment. So yeah. For the ghost effect, they filmed Lily on a black background and then burned the image onto the film using optical compositing. So that's cool.
Oh, I do actually remember us talking about this briefly. Just we must have got into the effect a little
Yeah.
bit, but yeah.
Not using compositing. The scene where Jun just pulls her off the tracks, that just happened in one shot. So we're just like, yeah, can you do the train this part? Thanks. And then they ran the train there for real.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can just do shit.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So yeah, that's our Ultra Q trivia for this week. Next week I'll be rounding off doing the last of the roundup, and then we'll be done. And I'll go do run back on Ultraman, which may be faster because they'll probably be like turn art to this, for like a whole bunch of it. But yeah, we have
any emails?
We have an email.
Go for it.
He's back again. Sir Jigsaw. He says aim for the ace or something. I don't know anything about anime. Is the subject
tennis?
He says, okay. Oh boy, story time. Ace is actually the first Ultraman thing I ever saw. But not just any normal Ace. Oh no, I saw the Malaysian English dub of Ace when I was in the height of my Godzilla phase, and I was enamored.
Nice.
Should say that there's no real reason why it's a Malaysian Ace dub. It was just the first Ultraman thing I found on YouTube. I imagine like it being English dubbed just helps. There's like a Southeast Asian dubs for like Kamen Rider and stuff. You sometimes see clips up that are funny because it's like, you know,
it's like this. It's like the same with like Double Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say Double Zeta had one of these.
It's just still gets referenced in, you know, sometimes I don't get them because I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
So.
Either way, I think it's safe to say that Ace is a show that will surprise you pretty much week to week. Although I don't know right now if the aspect will be something you like or not at the end. But I'm glad you seem to be liking it so far. Yeah, so far it's good. Yeah. I'm hoping it's enjoyable, even if like we have qualms with it. Because you know it feels like it's you know, as we said last week, it's spinning a lot of plates. We don't know if it will land us.
It's a weird fucking show.
I think I do like that it's weird. Like obviously I like most of the shows we've seen so far, but like this one's doing some weird shit that I kind of appreciate. It makes it fun. Even if I wish it actually, like, you know, when it says we're having two protagonists, it actually meant it. But
yes.
Right, yeah. Obviously, he doesn't know what we thought of the show's first two-parter so far, but I assume it elicits some interesting responses. I'm very glad the term choju is being used by all, except for me, to, listen, it's funny.
Mel is taking revenge upon me for constantly bombarding her with images of Mokuko.
Yeah. It's actually hilarious how literally everyone has rejected the term terrible monster being what you're supposed to say to everyone, that even the Ultraman Connection people you can tell are cringing every time they have to say it. So yeah, essentially Choji or Super Beast.
Listen, I'm team terrible monster. I'm gonna keep.
It's literally the team name. It's called TAC. You can't avoid this. You did this to yourselves.
And I'm helping them undo the sin.
So yeah,
Bolton Seijin.
So yeah, essentially saying Choji or Super Beast will stop people looking at you funny. I will have to make.
Oh, Super Beast.
Yeah. I will have to make. I'll make a decision about whether this is called the Choju Sorter or the Terrible Monster Sorter this season.
Yeah, that's your tyranny.
Yeah.
I get mine.
Because I'm not gonna waste this opportunity.
Absolutely.
I might just be a coward and go Choju, aka Terrible Monster Sorter. One thing about the whole Ultra Ace debacle is how this change occurred so late they'd already recorded the theme song with Ultra Ace in the lyrics. I think Citrix sent that to me. I didn't send that at the time, but I can send it now.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You can have fun with it this week if you want.
We will see. I'll have to figure out where to put it.
Yeah. You can always put it like either at the start or the end. Just make it. Have fun with it. I'm not gonna tell you to do
that's one of the two places.
Yep, one of the two places. Let me just I have to download it again. Cause I didn't download it last time from Store. It's fine.
That is. We will handle that later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long my connection's going to hold.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just
we gotta
go. Speaking of, please don't ask why there's a section of the TV-sized version of OP that isn't the full-size version. It just kind of is. Pretty sure there's like one of the two Togo shows where that's the case. I did notice that Red made a decision on the TV versus the full-size, which is fine.
I just felt like it.
Yeah, it's fine. Doesn't necessarily be a reason.
I might whip out the full version. It's depending. We'll see.
Yeah. You have your personal freedom.
I do.
Well, you do edit. I can't really change your decisions.
You could try.
Yeah, it's true. I could try.
You could plug the MP3 back into Audacity.
Yeah, that's true. One thing about the Toho side content, just confirm if Latitude Zero is on the watch list. I don't think it is.
I don't think so. I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
I don't know what that is.
1969 film.
Nice.
About a giant submarine.
Why are you watching Achugan?
Oh, hang on. Wait. What's this called?
Latitude Zero. Super Submarine Alpha. Captained by Craig Mackenzie. Who they learn is over 200 years old. Okay, I can't read any more about this.
Okay, well, maybe...
This is a super vehicle. This is they wanted to do a Stingray or something.
Well, the funny thing is he also... The next movie we have up is Achugan, which is also a submarine movie, so maybe we can think about things.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the era of submarine movies.
Yeah. They also mentioned...
are scary and cool.
They also recommend at some point check out the Toei space opera, Message from Space, at some point, which they just have in the mind because it's good, and they just announced getting a UK Blu-ray release. From our understanding, there was a movie, and then it was followed up by a short TV show, and that's getting... and then Discotheque is doing the show, I think. So...
What's it called?
A Message from Space. By Toei.
Okay.
Not Toho.
Okay.
Yeah. We can figure out if we want to loop in Latitude Zero into our thing alongside Achugan. Because presumably, like, Achugan might take from Latitude Zero.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, Achugan is first, and then Latitude Zero is 6 years after.
Wait, is it?
Yes. Achugan is 63, Latitude Zero is 69.
I'm stupid. The timeline is mixed up. We're like... In our Godzilla watch list, we're like way before Ultra Q exists. So, yeah, okay. We can just slot in Latitude Zero like in the appropriate timeline then.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, that's email. Thank you, Sir. Once again.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Cydrixer. And I think that's a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
I think it is.
So, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. I'm done sharing my Twitter. I've decided I don't want any more Twitter followers. I'm done. If you want, you go find me if you like. But I'm good. Mel.
Hi, you can potentially follow me at Dear Crowns on Twitter or Blue Sky. We have email, qpod@gmail.com. Sending emails to be spoken about, like Jixar or Jessica from last week. We'll all take the emails. Also, we have the fund, AltQ Fund. I have the coffee, which is the proper website, not the fund. Presumably to acquire some stuff. There's some stuff that'd be nice to acquire that I have my eyes on. But I'm unemployed. And that's all I know how to give a spiel about. Mm-hmm. Brad, you go.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at B_invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. You can also find me on YouTube at BInvoked. Probably not stuff still for a while here because end of the month, so I'm busy with work deadline stuff. But yeah, hopefully Mel and I can do some Tales of the Abyss soon.
Things are just up in the air because like I just finished my school stuff, but also I might want to visit my parents. So we'll see. But yeah, next week.
Do you know how good it is to have 300 followers on Twitter? Just no one. It's good. It's quiet.
I got like 1,400, so I got no idea. But also, I feel...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I have 1,400, but it feels like I have like 200 sometimes.
See, sometimes you need to tweet something spicy to filter out the
because like I know I have a lot of followers, but it sure doesn't feel like I have a lot of followers because it's not like most of them engage with me. Not that I mind. It's just like there's a dissonance there with a number of my experiences.
You should gain most of your followers by doing a very fandom specific podcast and related material, and then stop doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So you just have a weird residual layer of people who are there for the new stuff, and then also a bunch of people that are there.
Oh,
for
so
the old
basically,
stuff.
when
They're-
Ultra Q ends.
Listen,
All
I categorize my followers. I'm like, some of these people are the Yick podcast people. Some of these people are from the Megaton days. So, you found me through a Dragon Quest Let's Play.
Dragon
There's a few
Quest?
people. Yeah.
Dragon
few
God.
people. I know there's a few. Well, no, not you. You as in the metaphorical you possibly listening to this. But yes, you did find me through Dragon Guard.
I think it was a mistake when English lost the singular "you."
God damn. Well, that is a podcast. We're out of here. Goodbye.
10 to 12.
Join us next time for 300. 300? 3.
What?
3 more
300.
episodes. 3 more episodes of Ultraman Ace.
Next
Not
week
300.
we're watching all of Taro, all of Leo, all of 80, etc.
Yeah, or Zack Snyder's 300. One of those two
We are
things.
not watching that. I don't like how the way they did Hit by People.
You would be correct. Now, goodbye. 3 more episodes of Ultraman Ace.
Yeah, bye later.
Goodbye.